Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing my top 15 rose fragrances for men and for women. All of these are completely unisex. This is the perfect video for all of my rose lovers out there. We have many different styles of fragrances and different budgets, designer and niche. This video is so long overdue, so let's go. Starting off with the first fragrance, we have Noir de Noir from Tom Ford. This is kind of a forgotten classic from Tom Ford, and I've been kind of obsessing over it lately. It is a earthy patchouli and rose fragrance done in a very elegant way. The patchouli comes off a little bit earthy green, but it also kind of has a chocolatey facet to it. And this scent has the same truffle note that you'll find in Black Orchid. For that reason, they're kind of related in a way. More like distant cousins, Noir de Noir is definitely going to be less bold and less polarizing than Black Orchid, with more dominant flowers and vanilla. Minimal spice in here. What I really get is a very nice, slightly metallic rose with this patchouli, chocolatey patchouli that smells very dressy. And for a fragrance that was launched almost 20 years ago, this still smells very modern, very dark and sexy. It is the perfect unisex, dark, sexy rose fragrance. Noir de Noir from Tom Ford. Next up, we have a very special fragrance. This is called Ardent from Bodicea the Victorious. And this is seriously one of the most luxe rose fragrances ever made. It is the most perfect rose oud with some spices on top. It's going to come off more rosy than necessarily oudy, kind of like 80% of this very bright, creamy rose and 10% of oud and 10% patchouli. And the quality is absolutely impeccable in here, as you would expect from Bodicea the Victorious. This house is very known for making some of the most rich, luxurious fragrances in the world, and it's so unique to wear this type of scent. You need to get Ardent if you want to stand out from the rest and really make a strong impression basically in every situation that you walk into. It is classy and extremely sophisticated. And as you guys know, some fragrances from Bodicea the Victorious can get up there in like the thousands of dollars range. Like they have some very pricey fragrances. And believe it or not, which really shocked me when I found this out, is that Ardent is one of their most affordable fragrances, one of the best entry-level Bodicea the Victorious fragrances that you could possibly get into. I believe this goes for around $270, and you can find this over on Max Aroma, which is a website that I always recommend to you guys to buy designer and niche fragrances, and you can save 10% with my code ERICA10. It's a great site that I love to shop on. I have bought so many fragrances from Max Aroma, it's crazy, but I will leave this linked in the description below where you can get it with my discount code. You will seriously smell so upscale. You're going to smell very dressy, very put together. It has a bit of this kind of like old money vibe about it. It is pricey, obviously, you know, almost $300 is not an affordable fragrance, but honestly, for the quality that you're getting with this scent, the performance and the quality, it's an amazing value. This fragrance, in my opinion, is worth every single penny, and I would pay it every time. This is a great starting point if you want something very luxurious for a great price point, and a great way to get into the house of Bodicea the Victorious. We have a hidden gem from Parfum de Marly. This is Akaster, and this is rose and oud with a dark kind of oriental twist. And this is going to come off more as like a 50-50 equal rose and oud combination. This definitely has a much darker side than the other two that I've talked about. And it has this very creamy cardamom combined with this slightly kind of smoky incense. It has this side though that kind of comes off a little bit minty fresh and green because of this geranium note. It really works as the bridge between the rose and the oud in Akaster, and gives it a really nice kind of classic feel too. There's lemon and cypress with this beautiful Bulgarian rose. It is a truly slept on Parfum de Marly. I really can't believe that more people don't talk about this fragrance. Kind of comes off as like dark and bright fragrance at the same time. It's very niche feeling. It's a very interesting contrast. And you can also find this at Max Aroma. That's where I bought it from. And Max Aroma is great for Parfum de Marly because they do have a lot of sales, like weekend sales on Parfum de Marly. So next up, we have Levar del Sole from Casa, the 2024 release that has really just rocked my world. I've been talking about this quite a bit in some of my past videos, and I told you that when I did a rose video, this was going to be in there. Even though this was very recently released, it is still a very slept on fragrance because this was released at the same time as Tra.ce, and I feel like Tra.ce has been getting a little bit more attention, and it deserves it. It's a great fragrance, but Levar del Sole is something that you need to try this if you love rose. And it's interesting as well because this fragrance was made with a very unique and rare rose from India that was specially sourced for Levar del Sole. It is incredibly gorgeous, and I just know that I'm not going to do it justice by talking about it. Like I'm not gonna be able to put into words how good this really is. It is rose with cardamom and this beautiful caramel note. It has a sweet benzoin feel with a nice kind of minimal, but it's there like a candied violet type of vibe that gives it something a touch powdery, along with some fruits like orange and apple. It gives it a really nice juiciness. There's some gourmand facets in here. I love the fruits and the caramel all underneath the rose. It's like these notes really are used to just boost up the floral element in here. And the caramel is really good too because it kind of comes off like a caramel candy, but it's not overly sweet. And the cardamom in here is really what makes it feel very high-end. Just something special. This is a fragrance that you need to sample. Seriously, it's perfectly unisex. It is beautiful on a woman, but it's very like classic and very interesting on a man as well. One of the top releases of the year. This is really spectacular. Levar del Sole from Casa. Next up, we have Rose Malaki from Chopard. And this is a great affordable line from Chopard. All of the fragrances in this line smell like almost 10 times more expensive than they are. They're really a great value. It's a pretty simple scent. It's saffron with rose and cedar. The saffron really comes off like a deep, almost kind of slightly smoky saffron with a bit of an earthiness. It makes the scent come off very exotic, kind of like you're walking through a market in Dubai. It smells ambery with a dark rose, almost in a way comes off a little bit wine-like. It's almost like a black rose, like a deep purple rose. It's very sensual and definitely very different. Honestly, it's one of the best fragrances. All of the fragrances from this line are incredibly good for around under $50. You can't go wrong with any of the fragrances from Chopard, but I love Rose Malaki. Now this next fragrance is definitely something special. This is called Tra.ce from Scentologia. And this is a creamy, ultra creamy orris butter iris note mixed with rose and coriander. And I do get something that kind of resembles a little bit of like a carrot seed vibe in the opening, mixed with agarwood and cade oil. But it doesn't really come off necessarily smoky sometimes like cade oil can. It's almost even slightly aldehydic in a way. Super silky. This is a very velvety perfume, and it's very different. Super unique. This is like opulence in a bottle. Very rich feeling, and it does have a little bit of a leathery aspect to it, but a very elegant, very wearable leather. And of course the performance of this is insanely strong, like all fragrances from Scentologia. It literally says on the bottle that they recommend only doing 2 sprays. And if you guys didn't know, Scentologia actually does sell 10 mls on their website so that you can try it out before you decide to invest in a full-size bottle. And if you're interested, you can save 10% on their website with the code ERICA10. And I do believe that works on the 10 mls as well. They ship worldwide. This is a very masculine and impressive scent. Tra.ce from Scentologia. Next up, we have a fragrance for all my rose lovers out there. This is Grandmaster from Mind Games. This is kind of like, I would say, the Rolls Royce of coffee rose fragrances. In the opening, you get this kind of fruity, jammy, sweet black currant that can sometimes come off a little bit like a dried fruit, mixed with this beautiful bouquet of roses. It has a soft kind of powdery aspect to it as well from peony and violet, but the base in this is so beautiful. It's very ambery, very balsamic, a lot of myrrh and a little bit of incense as well, but it's so balanced by this coffee note, this very dominant coffee note. And what I like about it in Grandmaster is that it doesn't really come off like a super dark, like bitter black coffee, but at the same time, it also doesn't come off as like a creamy, super milky latte. It's really right there in the middle. And in a way, you also kind of get a little bit of this almondy vibe as well. It is so good. It's one of my favorite coffee fragrances in my entire collection. As of all Mind Game fragrances, you know you're going to get very good quality. Must try if you love coffee fragrances. And the best part is that you can test Mind Game fragrances at most department stores. Like I know they're in Bloomingdale's, they're in Nordstrom, and I think also Saks. So you have a lot of places to test them out, but I do recommend buying it on their website once you find one that you like, because you can save 10%. You can get a discount. So Grandmaster from Mind Games if you love coffee. Now this next one is going to maybe ruffle some feathers. We're talking about Toy Boy from Moschino. And this is probably one of the most, if not the most, rose dominant men's designer fragrances out there. It is a spicy rose with nutmeg and elemi, with clove. Of course, you have that rose with vetiver and sandalwood. It feels very earthy and definitely very intensely spicy, but it comes off like a very manly spice. So you're really going to get a lot of spice with a bit of rose. It is a touch synthetic, of course, coming from Moschino, that's what you can expect, but it really does come off a little bit, not the best blended, but as it dries, you will find that the spice in this blooms even more. And I do like it. I know that it is kind of polarizing. Definitely worth testing in stores though, because it is so affordable. So if you're looking for a cheaper designer rose fragrance, Toy Boy is a good option. And if you know of any other rose dominant men's designer fragrances, drop a comment down below because I would love to try them. So the next two fragrances that I'm going to talk about are really for someone that truly appreciates niche fragrances and high-end luxury, like a high-end luxury buying experience in every aspect. We're talking about Sahraa from Fragrance du Bois. It is hard to find a brand that is more prestigious than Fragrance du Bois. Not only do they offer one of the absolute best like unboxing, packaging, and display experiences with their fragrances, the scents are just as rich feeling, and it's no exception with Sahraa. It definitely has a very strong classic feeling about it, and this is part of one of their more luxurious collections. This is a rose oud with geranium and woods. It does come off very woody, but truly just exudes this opulence, this richness, something very royal about it. And it does have a little bit of sweetness, has grapefruit and a nice sweet amber. But to really truly appreciate this, you have to love niche fragrances and you have to love oud. This is not their typical oud fragrance. You know, Fragrance du Bois is very known for how they do their oud. It's very specific and very familiar. It's not like this in here. It comes off a little bit more kind of sappy, you know, a little bit more Oriental, Middle Eastern, and definitely more dominant than how they usually do. But it's not like a dank or like barnyardy oud. It's just more intense. It has saffron with black pepper and vanilla. For me, it kind of smells like the scent that you wear when you want to go shopping at Harrods on the 6th floor or something like that. Like a very bougie shopping day, this is something that I would reach for. Very exclusive line from Fragrance du Bois, Sahraa. So next up, we're going to talk about Amber Oud from Roja, a classic fragrance from Roja Dove. This is going to come off a little bit sweeter, a beautiful sweet rose that also has some creaminess. Very realistic fig note that's very strong in the scent. It is a masterpiece. We have some citrus on the top with that very famous like Roja floral combo, jasmine, ylang ylang, and rose. It's a very like signature Roja Dove combination that he does in a lot of his fragrances, mixed with this beautiful clean oud. And it does have a civet note in here. There is definitely something that comes off very slightly animalic way in the background, but it comes off more, it's like something that's going to activate the pheromones in the people around you. Like a pheromone-like sensuality to your aura. It just gives that effect that when you smell it, you want to keep smelling more. So when you wear something like Amber Oud, you're going to notice that the people around you, they just want to come in and get closer to you. Like you have this magnetism to you. Seamlessly blended, this is incredibly smooth and also has a lot of this velvety feeling, velvety texture. Opulence and regalness bottled, a classic from Roja. Amber Oud. Another slightly animalic rose is going to be Fakhama from Spirit of Dubai, but not over the top animalic. This fragrance is really, really good too. It has a super Middle Eastern feeling with these dried fruit notes, a very stunning, addicting dried fruit. I don't know what it is about dried fruits, like a date note. A good date note in fragrances is crazy good to me. This has coffee with cardamom and elemi with a nice cashmere wood feel. I definitely perceive something cashmere-esque in here with a lot of florals. And that animalistic side kind of appears more as it dries. It's definitely not going to be for the faint of heart, but really how it comes off to me is more like an animal skin, like almost kind of suede-like. But I feel like the fruitiness in this scent really kind of balances it out. I really just can't get over that plummy date note. It is so good to me. And also very strong performing as well. Fakhama from Spirit of Dubai. So next up, we have Fars from Xerjoff. And this is one of the best introductory oud fragrances out there on the market, especially in the Oud Stars collection from Xerjoff. And this is very unknown as well. One of my favorites from the Oud Stars collection. So I'm here to change that. And there is no rose actually listed in this fragrance, but there's rose in here, guys. Like it comes off very rosy. I don't know if there's rose in it and they're just not telling us, or if there is some sort of floral accord that gives you a rosy feeling. I'm not sure which one it is, but definitely comes off like a very beautiful rose oud. This has lavender and geranium, which gives it a very aromatic effect and freshness mixed with patchouli and ambergris. And it has this sparkling side to it, like this really nice sparkling green juniper. And you almost get a slightly minty, like cooling sensation from the geranium as well. There's sandalwood and vetiver in the base. It is a great woody fragrance that is very fresh and wearable. This is a very good like everyday daily wear scent, or even for the office if you want something that is, you know, unique from what other people are wearing. Fars from Xerjoff. So next up we have a fragrance that is probably one of the most popular from Frederic Malle, Portrait of a Lady. And this is really what most people picture when they think of a great, amazing rose fragrance. It is a spicy rose with really nice creamy spices. Like the way the spices are done, it's not very like peppery or like that kind of like tingliness that you get in your nose. It's done very creamy. It has clove with raspberry and cinnamon with black currant that's very jammy, very addicting. Done by the master perfumer Dominique Ropion, which I had the honor of meeting at Aix-en-Provence. And if you love this fragrance, if you know that you already are a fan of Portrait of a Lady, there are so many other rose fragrances that you're going to love. There's incense with creamy sandalwood, with musk, benzoin, and amber. It's kind of a green, rooty rose. Herbal in a way, but very artistic and very appealing. Great way to start out your rose collection. Portrait of a Lady from Frederic Malle. So this next scent actually has a little bit more iris than necessarily rose, but I wanted to include it because it is so good. Dior Homme Parfum. It's just so iconic, and I wanted to include it because it's really hard to find, but it's one of those things where if you see it, you should grab it. And it's not impossible to get. I know that they still sell this in like duty frees around the world, and sometimes they have deals over on like Frag Flex. I'll leave it linked below. I'm not sure if it's in stock right now, but it is just so gorgeous. It has a ton of ambrette with a juicy, juicy Italian orange with a very rich, very buttery iris mixed with some rose, believe it or not. It is just the epitome of designer perfumes. Along with Dior Homme Intense, they're really known to be like the best men's designer fragrances that were ever made. I like them both. I do personally prefer DHI a little bit more, but I do love the Parfum as well. It's kind of leathery, elegant, rosy, rosy and woody. All I can say is that if you see it, definitely grab it. It's really, really good. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this list with one of my all-time favorite Supers Budapest fragrances. This is Mystery Saffron. Of course, only number 2 to Smesh, of course, but this is amazing, you guys. This is an absolutely incredible unisex rose saffron fragrance. It is going to be a staple for the end of summer going into fall and winter. Perfect for cooler weather. I rocked this year. This was my scent of Excence this year, and I just felt so stylish and very cool wearing this, and I got so many compliments, even just on the streets walking around, like by the Duomo, I got a compliment on this fragrance. Of course, because in very typical Supers fashion, it is incredibly strong, but the scent itself is just so gorgeous. If you love saffron, you need to try this. It is the saffron perfume of my dreams. And it has that kind of classic DNA from Supers as well. There's blackcurrant with a kind of strong powdery iris in here with rose. It is absolutely beautiful. There's cardamom too, with tonka bean and a very subtle kind of leather accord. It is magic. This fragrance is literally magic. It can be worn very casually, or you could dress this up to wear to an event or for a very like sexy date night. It's definitely a very like head-turning fragrance. It's just very impressive with this really nice sexiness about it. Something about that appeal of cardamom. It always comes off very sensual and sexy. Very alluring spice, and of course, like I said, very loud performing. It is saffron heaven. It is a must-try for the upcoming autumn. So exotic, ultra impressive, and as always, you guys know that you can save 10% with the code Erica10 on their website. So with that discount, you can get it for around $100. Honestly, it is such a steal. If you love saffron, you need to try Mystery Saffron from Supers Budapest. But guys, that was just my top 15 rose fragrances for men and for women. Rose is just such an elegant and beautiful note for everyone to wear, and a great note to get into if you really want to just elevate your everyday scent game, your style. You'll definitely come off very sophisticated and dressy and different than what most people are wearing. But please leave a comment below. What is your favorite rose fragrance? I would love to know what you think. And as always, all the fragrances mentioned will be linked in the description down below with some discount codes so you can save some money. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I appreciate each and every one of you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.